and welcome to another episode of Scarah's Screencast. My name is Scarah, Damsel of the Doomed, and I'll be your host for 30 to 45 minutes, maybe an hour, if I'm feeling loquacious. Loquacious is an SAT word for my younger listeners. It means verbose. That's another SAT word. Look, you can't talk as much as I do without knowing a few $5 words, okay? Loquacious. There's another good one. Hold on, what is it? Logorrhea, which basically means diarrhea of the mouth. Okay, I'm going to remind you of Scarah's scary hotline real quick. But this time, instead of me asking you to ask me a question, I want to ask you a question. I want to know who your dream guest would be at a horror convention, or who is on your bucket list? What celebrity or director, producer is on your bucket list of who you want to meet at a horror convention? Or perhaps it's, what cast would you like to meet at a horror convention? Any of those. Who's your bucket list person? What cast would you like to meet at a horror convention? Something like that. Who is your dream guest at a horror convention? Call Scarah's Scary Hotline and let me know. 512-710-8766. And I'll tell you who mine is. It would be Elvira as Elvira. Now, I already met my dream person, which was Cassandra Peterson, who plays Elvira. Cassandra is the woman behind Elvira. And I met Cassandra Peterson back in 2019 at Texas Frightmare Weekend. I would have loved to have met her as Elvira eventually, but I'm so glad I got to meet her as Cassandra Peterson. It would have been epic to meet her as Elvira as well, but unfortunately, that never was in the cards for me for some reason. But I did get to meet her as Cassandra. Now, let me bring you back. This is going to be a little intertwined moment of the history of Scarah and when I met Elvira, because they go together. Okay, let me check and see we got some people here. Somebody just answered and said Danielle Harris is who they'd want to see. Well, Danielle's at all of those conventions. She is not hard to find. Oh, Christina Ricci. Wasn't she supposed to be, or they've got her booked somewhere? Again, that's possible. You could do it. All right, back to Scarah's origin story. Well, not really my origin story, but I'll tell you that I started this version of myself back in December 23rd, 2018. I'm coming up on 7 years as this version of Scarah. It's when everything came together, when the dress, the blood tears, the hair, when it all came together. That was December 23rd, 2018. I was standing in a field and I had someone taking photos of me, and I can put those on my Instagram later on my Scaraversary. I think it was January 19th, 2019, that was my first public appearance as Scarah in this form. And it was at the Dark Baptism at the Glass Coffin, which was a fun event. It was a free event that we helped put on, Horror Web, I mean. And boy, we had a good time that night. The Dark Baptism at the Glass Coffin. I miss those guys. The Glass Coffin, Joey. Anywho, so that was in January. Okay. I had not been to a horror convention before that. Let's see. I'll get to the chat here in a moment. I hadn't been to a horror convention yet. I was kind of aware of them, but I wasn't really sure. I think I might be wrong. I think actually I went to Cult Classic out in Bastrop, but not as Scarah, not as this version. And then along comes Texas Frightmare Weekend. It was 2019. It was May 5th. And I didn't know anything really about Texas Frightmare Weekend. I just knew that a lot of people I knew attended and had nothing but amazing things to say about it. So I hopped in my car and drove to Dallas just for a day. I bought a 1 day pass and it was May 5th. I think that was a Saturday. And I went in and I was devil Scarah that day. I was wearing a very tight, form-fitted, fishtail red holographic gown and devil horns. And it was a uh, very visually stunning look, I might say. I might, not to toot my own horn, you know what I mean? But it was eye-catching. So I'm walking around Texas Frightmare Weekend. This was when it was out at the airport hotel, and I was just blown away the entire time. Blown away. Looking at all the vendors, the celebrities that were there. Tom Savini's over there. You know what I mean? Just all the fans. It was so crowded. And there was just electricity in the air. And people were stopping me and asking for photos. And they didn't know who the hell I was. I didn't even know who the hell I was. But I looked cool in that red dress and red horns and blood tears. And anyway, I knew Cassandra Peterson was there, and I was thrilled because if you haven't heard me talk about Cassandra before and Elvira, definitely one of my biggest influences, for sure, hands down, 100%. I was aware of Elvira from when I was a very young little girl, saw her cut out in a convenience store and about died. I thought she was the best thing I've ever seen in my life. So I knew she was going to be there. And I remember I went by and did the whole drive by, where you go by a celebrity's table to just lay eyes on them. And I saw her, Cassandra Peterson, sitting there with her beautiful red hair and her fair skin. And she was so beautiful and just looked kind. Sometimes people, you just can see it on them. And just the opposite is true of other people as well. But Cassandra looked kind. And then I saw her line and I thought, oh no, I'm not going to make it. There's no way I'm going to get to meet her. Her line was so far back. I was like, I don't think this is going to happen for me, And then I thought, well, maybe I'll go walk around and come back. Again, I wasn't aware how these things worked. So I had stood in her line for a little bit, and then I thought, I'm going to go walk around again, and then I'm going to come back and see if the line's gotten any shorter. I didn't understand how it worked. Not yet. I didn't understand that once you got in line to see someone, you should park it. You should stay put. But I digress. So I walked around, and then I came upon a vendor, and I wish I could remember who the vendor was. But I saw this beautiful corset, and it was from Dracula Clothing. I remember that. That's where the corset was from. And it was this skeleton and black corset. It looks so cool. And I wanted to buy it, but I wanted to make sure it fit. And let me tell you, it took 3 of those vendors just to put me in that corset. I remember they wanted to cinch it, So they squeezed me into the corset. They tied it up. And by the time they got it all on and it was all proper, I was like, I don't want to take it off. That was a lot of work on their part. I felt bad taking it off at that moment. You know what I mean? After all that hard work, I think someone broke a sweat, So I was like, I'll just leave it on. Now, so picture it. Sicily, 1921. Texas Frightmare Weekend, Irving, or wherever that was. 2019. Excuse me. Picture it. I'm in the red Scarah dress, red horns, red blood tears, and then I have a black and white corset over it. It wasn't the look at this point. It was not the look. But that's where I was at. So I leave the vendor, I go back around, and I'm walking, and someone comes up to me, a volunteer from Texas Frightmare Weekend, and they said, were you in Cassandra Peterson's line earlier? And I was like, yeah. And they said, we thought it was you. Her people said to go get the witchy looking girl and bring her back. Something along those lines. I about died. I was like, what? What? So I went with them and they put me a little bit further in line. They deposited me and they left, these angels, these volunteers. So there I am in line, and I'm like, I'm gonna meet Cassandra Peterson. Hell fucking yeah, boy. I was over the moon. So I waited, and I remember chatting with the people in line all around me, and everybody was super pleasant. And the group in front of me, when they went to go meet her, like, it was odd. It was like 30 seconds before it was their turn, their like whole composure started changing. I could feel them tensing up, And when they went to meet Cassandra, they started bawling, just waterworks tears, telling her how much they loved her and how much they meant to her and all of this stuff. It was beautiful. But I was like, whoa, I don't have that in me, kid. I'm not a crier like that. I do cry at all sorts of shit, but not when I'm meeting celebrities. So I remember this. This was before Elvira came out. And she had at her table this person, this lady who was buff and was like, she was the person that was taking the money, and helping you select the photo that you're going to have signed and all of that. And I went up to her and I was like, how much are tickets to the gun show? Because I thought it was funny. But anywho, it made her laugh. And it turns out later on, I found out that was Elvira's partner. Oh, and you could kind of tell because this person was, the way she looked at Cassandra Peterson was, you could see it was like hearts, just heart eyes across the board for those two. So I meet Cassandra and I'm in that fucking outfit. I'm in the red and the black and white corset. And I'm like, if I had to do it all over again, I would do two things. One, I would look at myself in the mirror before. Two, I would have been dressed as classic Scarah in black. Three, I would have looked in the mirror before because I chatted with Elvira. She asked me my name. I told her Scarah. She asked me how to spell it. I told her like Sarah, but with a C, Scarah. She thought that was funny or clever, I think. And we laughed and she was really nice. She signed my photo. I got my photo, my selfie on my phone. The staff takes it for you. And then I walked away on cloud nine until I looked at the picture girl and I got a dang horn crooked and my bangs are all askew. And I was like, oh, that outfit, what am I doing? But it wasn't, the moment wasn't ruined because the interaction with Cassandra was so pure and so nice and so like clean and beautiful that it was okay that I looked like, I had just stumbled out of bed and poured in the kitchen. No, stumbled out of bed and tumbled to the kitchen, poured myself a cup of ambition. It's okay. I looked a mess. It was all right because Cassandra was nice and she told me she liked my dress. And then I remember telling her it looked better when I didn't have the corset on, and I gave her a little bit of the corset story and she listened and she was pleasant and nice. But if I had to do it again, I would have wore something else. I would have had someone taking a little video, and I would have asked for more than one photo. I think they literally took one picture, maybe two. I'll double check. And that was that, But I have to say, whoever it was at Team Cassandra and whoever it was at Texas Frightmare Weekend that allowed it to happen, that I got to meet her, that intervened in my ridiculousness and got me back in line. Thank you so much. Thank you. And if you have the opportunity to meet Elvira or Cassandra Peterson, I say you should. Okay, let's see. Let me check the chat before I go on. All right, here we go. I've gotten a signature from everyone that's still alive from Nightmare 3. Oh, that's great. Except for Craig Wasson. Well, I haven't seen him about on the circuit. Have you? I don't know. That's someone to look for, huh? But once again, call 512-710-8766 and let me know on the Scarah Scary Hotline who you would like to see at a horror convention so you can meet them. Who would you like to see? Tell me. Because horror convention season's coming up. It's almost upon us. It's kind of For me, officially, it has started because I recently worked Blood Over Texas Horror for the Holidays, which is here in Austin, Texas, at the Palmer Event Center. It's been going on for over a decade. It's a beautiful and wonderful show. They've been growing every year. They now have celebrities, they have the best vendors, and it's a really fun event. It's Christmas horror. Beautiful, beautiful Christmas horror. Everybody's happy. I love this. I love that convention. So I just got off of that. The next one that I have, let's see, I think the next one's going to be Nosferatu Festival. And Nosferatu Festival, shoot, I had all of this written down. I have it here on my cellular device. Nosferatu Festival is a weekend of vampires. It's been going on for over 5 years, I believe, at this point. Let's see. I'm pulling up my app. It's called Countdown, and it's got all of my important dates on it. And it gives a countdown of like when something's coming up because Lord knows I need time to prepare. I need it. Okay. Nosferatu Festival is Friday, February 27th, 28th, and March 1st. And on February 28th, the Immortals are playing. That's my band. And we are going to not, I don't think we're going to play any shows until we play Nosferatu. So that'll be your opportunity to see us at Nosferatu Fest on February 28th at Kick Butt. You can go to nosferatufestival.com to get your early bird tickets now. Check out the other bands that are playing. They're releasing the performers and the vendors as well. So you might want to follow them on Instagram, Nosferatu Festival. Check that out. So that is first. After Nosferatu Festival is Cult Classic Convention out in Bastrop. Cult Classic Convention happens March 28th. And is it the 28th and 29th? I think so. And the 29th happens to be my birthday. So you might want to go out there. Cult Classic Convention. Hopefully I'll be doing the interview panels for them. Okay. And then it's Texas Frightmare Weekend. May 22nd is when it starts out in Irving, Texas Frightmare Weekend. After that, it's Houston Horror Film Festival, which happens August 7th, I think. These are the conventions I'm going to be attending for sure. In fact, at Texas Frightmare Weekend and at Houston Horror, I will have a table. So come and see me. Hopefully I'll have some new stuff to give you, to sell you, to show you, whatever you, all right? But that's all the conventions that I for sure am doing. There's Big Texas Terror in San Antonio. I want to say it might be going on also in March, maybe the same weekend as Cult Classic. So if that's true, I won't be able to go to that. You know what I mean? That's just too bad. That's just too bad because I've been attending Cult Classic Convention for years. I got into doing that thanks to Mitch from Gore Noir magazine. They had asked Mitch to do some interview panels, and he asked me to do it for him. And I said, all right, girl, I'll do your interviews. I'll interview these guys from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, even though one of them asked me to go to his hotel room later with him. It happens. I don't go to the hotel rooms, but I do get asked to go to the hotel room sometimes. Hey, guess what's coming up? Guess what is coming the fuck up? That would be Gomez's 3rd birthday. Gomez, Dachshund of the Doom, is turning 3 on December 21st. And yesterday, Gomez, my poor baby, my Shayla, my boy, he had a liver biopsy. And I was under the impression that it was going to be like a really easy procedure. That's, how they tell you before. Oh, it's nothing. It's no big deal. It's going to be laparoscopic. We're just going to go in there with the needle and get a little bitty tissue sample, and then he'll be able to go home. They're going to do general anesthesia, yes, but he'll be okay. Why is it that he got an incision on him, girl? He's got a damn bandage this big. Ugh. I know they don't want to worry me, but I prefer knowing what to expect. You don't gotta soften a blow for me. You know what I mean? Hit me hard in the face with the truth. That's what I want. I don't want a soft blow. That sounds soft blow sounds perverted. I want a hard smack in the face with reality. Don't skirt around it. Just tell me what's going to happen to my dang dog. Anyway, I'm happy he was in good hands. Don't get me wrong. He was in good hands and he's doing well now. He's wearing a little surgery suit, this little onesie looking thing. He looks like a hybrid human toddler / dachshund. It's kind of creepy, but it's so he won't lick his wound. You know what I mean? I don't want him wearing that damn cone if he doesn't have to. Fucking cone. God, those things are hideous. And he can't give me kisses if he got a cone on. You know what I mean? So, but then let me tell you, this is what irked me about this. Besides not being told exactly what to expect, this is what irked me. So I spoke to the surgeon that was going to do it, the doctor. He's very nice, I really trust this doctor. And he told me, after we do the procedure, I'll give you a call. And he gave me a call and he was like, everything went well, blah, blah, blah. Wonderful, wonderful. They want to observe him for a few hours. And I said, great. And they said, so can you pick him up at 4? And I was like, I'll be there. Don't you worry. I'll be there for my boy at 4 o'clock. I get anxious at like 3. And I'm like, I'm just going to go ahead and go up there. There's a coffee shop next door. I'm going to get me a coffee. I'm going to go wait. I'm going to let him know I'm there. And I'm going to get him as fast as I can. So I get into the vet's office with my coffee at like 3:40 at the latest. And I checked in with the front desk. They were like, okay, we'll let them know you're here for Gomez. I was like, thank you. Wonderful. I'm going to sit behind the desk in this little waiting area. And so I'm waiting and I'm waiting. 4 o'clock rolls around. Where's my boy? Not with me. I'm holding a little blanket for him. I'm ready to cuddle him and tell him how much I love him. 4 o'clock comes and goes. 4:10 comes and 4:10 fucking goes. Now I'm starting to get a little nervous. But I'm waiting because, this is a vet hospital. It's an emergency vet hospital. Also, it functions that way. And sometimes there's a lot of sick animals and they're having to care for the triage cases. So I don't want to step on anyone's toes. I just figured they're busy with triage or something because this has happened before. And, but when it's happened before, they've come to tell me what was going on and I hadn't gotten an update. So I was getting a little nervous. So finally, after 4:20, I get a call from the clinic that I was sitting in. The call's coming from inside the building, girl. I got a call. I was like, hello. And they said, hey, we were just checking on your arrival time for Gomez. We were wondering if you're on your way or if you're here yet or if you've left your house yet. I was like, what? Margaret, I've been here since 3:40. Oh, waiting. I've been here. And I didn't say it rude. I just was like, oh, I've been here. I've been here for a while. And the lady on the other end of the phone said, oh my gosh, I am so sorry. The front desk did not let us know. They didn't let us know you're here. And again, I understand it happens. The lady at the front desk, I was not within her eyesight. I think she got busy and she kind of forgot I was there. It happens. I understand. So I said, okay, that's all right. I'm here though. I'm here now. And the lady said, all right, we'll bring him right out. And they did. They brought him out pretty quick after that. But it was a different lady who brought him out, not the one I talked to on the phone. And this lady, she sat down. She gave me my baby. I'm holding my boy. And she said, oh, sorry for the delay. We were just checking his IV and his to make sure that the bleeding and his clotting factors were okay and that he wasn't, bleeding from his IV wound. Excuse me. There's no need to lie to me. I was not mad until now. but I kept it inside because I didn't want to have the anger seep out and get on my dog who's healing. But don't piss on my leg and tell me it's raining. Thank you, Judge Judy, for that. Don't do that. You could have just come out and said, we are so sorry. The front desk must have got busy. They didn't let us know. I'm fine with that. I understand that. I'm not a monster. But to come out and tell me some lie, ugh. You lose integrity points with me, technician. You lose integrity points with me. Don't do that. Because that tells me you think I'm irrational and that I'm going to get mad. That's what it tells me, and you have no reason to, because I've been nothing but polite up in that vet. So that happened. But today, he's doing well. He was high as a kite when I took him home yesterday. I was singing Rocket Man to him by Sir Elton John. And I'm gonna be high as a kite by then. You know? But today he hasn't needed any pain meds or any sedatives. I just can't let him run around. I can't let him roughhouse with Herman, his brother. I can't let him get wet. I can't let him lick his incision. Can't let him jump. Can't let him, be a almost 3-year-old little dachshund boy. He looks like that. You know what he looks like? He looks like the goblin. He looks like the little baby right now from Labyrinth. That Jareth, the Goblin King. You remind me of the babe. What babe? The babe with the power. What power? The power of voodoo. Hoodoo. You do what? Remind me of the babe. That's what he kind of looks like right now because he's wearing this little green and blue striped onesie. I'll post a picture in my Instagram stories later. Anywho, he's going to be okay. But it's going to be 2 weeks of restrictions for Gomez. Good Lord. All right. Wrapping up. One more thing. Scary Scream Theater is going to be out at Doc's Drive-In Theater the first Sunday of January. And that falls on... Why don't I have anything ready? The first Sunday of January is the 4th. Okay. And I've been thinking about what do I want to screen? And at first I was like, I really want to show something dark and really disturbing, which I love that criteria. Dark and disturbing is great because I just screened The Gremlins, and that's a great movie. I love it. Very fun. You could bring the kids to that pretty much. The next one, I don't want it to be kid friendly, but I started thinking about it, and it's going to be January. And sometimes it's really fun to match the atmosphere of Doc's Drive-In Theater to the movie. You know what I mean? Like, or the movie to the atmosphere of Doc's Drive-In Theater, weather-wise. And I started thinking about winter horror. And there are 2 winter horror movies that stick out to me. One is The Shining, Stanley Kubrick. Okay? That one's not only a winter horror, the isolation, the snow, they're stuck in the overlook and all of that. But at the end, it's the photo reveal of, New Year's Eve, with Jack Nicholson standing with all those dead folk. So it's winter and January, okay? And then the other one is John Carpenter's The Thing, which is another cold, wintry movie. Now, I'm not saying, Austin, Texas, we get snow once in a great blue moon. And it's supposed to be kind of a mild winter this year, but it'll be cold at night. And so I thought it would be cool to show like a really cold winter horror movie. And what did I do? I did something weird to my thing. I just don't know. By my thing, I mean my display. I just don't know if I want to show The Shining or if I want to show The Thing. They're both great, and I would love to screen both of them. I've seen The Thing on the big screen before, but I've never seen The Shining on the big screen. What do you guys think? I asked my audience on various social media to tell me what they suggest as far as like something dark and disturbing. I'm going to read to you as fast as I can their answers. Okay, ready? Here we go. Midnight Meat Train, which I don't think's real. The Dark and Wicked, Black Sunday, The Barbarian, Walrus, The Barbie Movie, Is that horror? Maybe. Session 9, Black Christmas. I don't know what the hell that says. I can't read my handwriting. Peeping Tom, Deranged, The Mask, Fade to Black, The Collector, Automation, Transfusion, The Thing. Someone said The Thing. High Tension, Alien, A Violent Nature, House of a Thousand Corpses, Silent Hill, Evil Dead 2013, The Mist. That would be cool too. Azrael, In a Glass Cage, The Collector, Killer Clowns, Devil's Pass, Dead Snow, The Tunnel, The Eye, The Visit, Dead Snow, Blood-Sucking Freaks, When Evil Lurks, Martyr, Terrifier 3. I've already shown it. Krampus, Silent Night. By that, I think they mean Silent Night, Deadly Night, but maybe not. The Coffee Table. What? Barbarian, another one for Barbarian. Babadook, The Babadook. Deliverance. I don't think Deliverance classifies as horror, but it is scary. Life Force, another one for The Entity. Oddity, which, I love that one. Wolf Creek, Wreck and Wreck 2. Never heard of it. Possession. Ooh, that one's... Possession is super creepy. High Tension, Murders, Headless, The Cube, It Follows. I love that one. Bone Tomahawk, shown it. Tusk, another one for Tusk. The Descent, As Above, So Below. Those are all of the recommendations I received, and I wrote them all down because I'll be showing for sure some of these in subsequent Scare Scream theaters. All right. But if you have a choice, if you want to let me know what you want me to see between The Shining and The Thing, call me at 512-710-8766. Let me know. We still have a few weeks before I have to choose. 512-710-8766 is the number for Scarah Scary Hotline. Let me know if I should show The Shining or if I should show The Thing. What do you think? What do you think? Boy, I got to see John Carpenter speak at Texas Frightmare Weekend 2 years ago, I think. Ugh, funny guy. Super funny. Did you see that he doesn't like, what's the one with Demi Moore? The Substance. I didn't watch the interview. I just saw a clip, and I wonder if it's because the monster and the substance, the thing is like the thing from his thing. If you could tell me what I was saying right there, I'll give you $5 bills. Okay. Well, I think we're about to wrap her up, guys. I think we're about done. Thank you for joining me once again, right here on Scarah's Screamcast. I do this once a week, usually on Wednesdays, and I appreciate you, people that were in and out of the chat. And I have got to go and make sure Gomez is doing okay now. But I'll see you later. I'll see you in your screens.